My personal experience takes place on a summer's day in Colorado. There is a group of about 7 of us that had planned to go hiking at a place called Lost Creek. Lost Creek is one of the most awe-inspiring places I've ever been to. It's filled with boulder fields that have boulders literally the size of hills in them. We always enjoy going because we get to be in the mountains, we get to go hiking, and mainly we just get to go and mess around on these massive boulders. There's a specific spot we've been to a couple times before that doesn't require much of a hike in, which is great because it leaves most of the day for us to just go and explore and have fun. Jake, one of our friends, decided he wanted to try a different trail this time. It was more of a hike, but he said it led to a different boulder field, so we thought, sure, why not? We got to the trailhead. We all got out of the car, packed our backpacks with lunch and most of the water we had brought along with us, and we started up the trail, assuming that Jake knew where he was going because he was the one that picked the trailhead. We hiked, and we had a great time. We were just a group of friends enjoying life and loving being around each other and being in the mountains. But after a couple hours of hiking and no boulder fields, we started to get a little bit irritated. So we started asking, "Hey Jake, how much further?" Or, "Hey, where's that boulder field you promised us?" And without fail, the answer was always, "Don't worry guys, it's just a little bit further." So we trusted our friend and we kept hiking. We finally got to a ridge, and Jake assured us that this time the boulder field would be at the bottom. So we started the 2-mile descent down. Now, it was a pretty steep descent, but we made it to the bottom. And when we got there, there was no boulder, let alone a field of them. So now we're hot, now we're tired, now we're hungry, and very irritated. So we decided to eat lunch. After lunch, the plan was to look around a little bit and see if we couldn't find this boulder field that has eluded us all day. But there was one slight problem. We thought we had brought along more water and accidentally drank the last of it during lunch. So the smart play was just to go back to the car. After lunch, we packed everything back up and we started the 2-mile ascent up the side of the mountain. Now, 2 miles straight down is pretty challenging. 2 miles straight up, that's just grueling, especially when it's at the hottest part of the day and you have no water. Everybody was struggling right now, and it was taking us a lot longer to hike these 2 miles than it ever should have. It seems like we had to stop every 10 minutes just to give our bodies a rest so we didn't overheat. Jake's a pretty avid hiker and decided he was going to run ahead of us, go back to the car, grab the water, and meet us along the trail to give us some water. So we said sure. At this point we decided, you know what, we're just going to break up into groups and go at whatever pace is comfortable for you, so no one was pushing it because of anybody else. After the 2-mile hike up, it's about 5 miles back down to the car. Everybody was at different parts of the path, and somehow I ended up by myself, but I was in the middle of everybody, so I wasn't too worried about it. We were all pretty hot, pretty tired, and in some serious need of water. But thankfully, the 5-mile portion of the hike was downhill, or at least most of it was. So I set my mind to it. I set a pace that was comfortable, and I just walked and didn't stop until I was going to be at the car because I was only thinking about water. I finally met Jake about a mile away from the car, and I don't think water has ever tasted so good. When the last group finally arrived, we loaded up the car and were so excited to just go home. All in all, it was a pretty fun day. It made for a good story later, and I learned some valuable lessons from it. 1. Always take the water. Make room for it so you have it when you need it. 2. Make sure you realize how much water you're drinking while on the mountain so you can conserve it when you need to. And lastly, Don't ever assume Jake knows where he's going, because you will most likely not get there.